So you're thinking about making the move from California to the great state of Michigan. Well, in this video, I'm going to break down why you should and a few reasons why real people are doing it based on the clients I've helped. Let's get to it. What's going on, everyone? Andrew McMahon. I'm here with Living in Michigan and your all-time favorite Michigan realtor, helping people all over the country move to the fine state of Michigan. So if that's right up your alley, don't forget to do your thing below and reach out anytime if you need help doing so. As I mentioned in this video, I want to talk about the top reasons why you should move from California to Michigan as soon as possible. I wasn't planning on making a video touching on this topic until I was getting so many emails and text messages from residents in California who were trying to find an out and move somewhere else with a different pace and atmosphere. Places like Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio, Illinois, and Texas were all potential candidates to go for most of those people, but it ultimately came down to finding a new home in Michigan. Before the pandemic, the New York Times noted 180,000 people left California. Just last year, that number increased to 275,000. After listening to the countless stories from current California residents, the biggest touch point was the quality of life. Some of these residents have lived in California their whole entire life, while others have been in and out of many metro areas throughout the country. And they all see the changes that are happening while noticing people moving in droves. It's no secret either. In 2018, headlines were coming out in truckloads saying California was ranked last in the nation for quality of life. According to a USA Today article touching on just that, they say these rankings are based on having a healthy environment, a good sense of community, along with taking into account each state's urban air quality, pollution, and voter participation. The state also ranked last in urban air quality and 45th out of 50 in low pollution health risk, but the state does in fact rank relatively low at 13th with drinking water quality, which is another topic a lot of people don't seem to be talking about too much, and that's California's water problem. It was mind-blowing hearing some of these stories from current residents and how they have to ration their water and be extremely cautious about their usage throughout the day. Michigan, on the other hand, according to Michigan's Economic Development Corporation, has the perfect balance with an affordable cost of living and high quality of life. The state of Michigan has a cost of living that is 10% lower than the national average, making it among the top 10 most affordable states in the country, according to US News. There's a record-breaking drought in California, and it's not just due to low precipitation. There's a couple factors brought up by the UCLA Institute of Environment and Sustainability. 3 factors to be exact: rising temperatures, groundwater depletion, and shrinking Colorado River. This means the most populated U.S. state will face decades of water shortages and must adapt accordingly, hence the restrictions on the water usage. The governor asked California residents to cut their water usage by 15 to 20%, and according to drought.ca.gov, the average cut sits at about 3.7%. In terms of rankings, USA Today also said the state found itself second to last in voter participation, 44th in community engagement, and 38th in social support. On top of that, the other biggest complaint from residents I have chatted with after showing them around Southeast Michigan is how much better the traffic scene is. After a survey was done for over 30,000 people, drivers in and around the bigger cities of Cali, they spent 102 hours battling traffic congestion during peak hours annually. Imagine losing almost 4.5 days to sitting in traffic. I really couldn't. In Michigan, however, you'll spend less than 42.07 hours in a year in traffic. The average commute in Michigan has actually increased 4.7%, even though the state dropped 10 spots on Think Tank's annual highway report, and even landed among the bottom 10 states in several categories. Cities throughout California have ranked continuously for the worst traffic congestion in the nation among places such as New York City, Miami, and Atlanta. The last piece I want to touch on in the quality of life section is litter and homelessness. There's of course litter and homelessness in any large metro area you live in, mainly on the outskirts of the town, but as the founder of the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro, said in a video about him moving out of the state of California,
yes, LA always had a serious litter and homeless problem, but those problems were pretty much relegated to downtown or specific areas of the city. And then it was the task of the city, you would think, to clean up those areas. Instead, they decided to allow all those problems to explode into nearly every incorporated area of LA.
Switching gears to another reason why people are leaving California and coming to Michigan, and that's simply the overall cost of living. The best way to shed light on the difference is by taking a look at this graph provided by bestplaces.net that breaks down the cost of living differences between Ann Arbor, Michigan and San Francisco, California, which are two areas that are commonly compared when you're looking at these two states. Taking a look at this overall index, Ann Arbor comes in at 110.7 and San Francisco is sitting at 244, which is 120.4% more, as you can see from that third column on the right. Looking down the graph, you can see how San Francisco blows Ann Arbor out of the water in every category. Just look at the home cost, for example. It's literally over $1 million difference, and when I meet with California residents here in Michigan, they are in awe as how far their dollar stretches here. At that price point in California, depending on where you are, you're probably in a 1,200 square foot space and sharing walls on either side. Whereas in Michigan, in the majority of any of the cities, but in Birmingham, Michigan, for example, which is one of the more luxurious areas in Southeast Michigan, you could get your hands on a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom home with 4,200 square feet on 0.3 acres and most likely a gated community. The one category I'll touch on that is a little higher in Ann Arbor than it is in San Francisco is utilities. This category is based on the average cost of heating or cooling a typical residence for the area, including electricity, natural gas, and other fuels. With that being said, it's no secret that Michigan weather is quite a bit different than California, which I'll touch on a little later, but for the sake of this expense, we use furnaces much more here, hence the higher expense. You can expect to pay more in sales tax in California, coming in at a base rate of 7.25%, whereas Michigan is at a 6%. In the income tax department, graduated rates can be up to 13.3% in California, whereas Michigan has a 4.25% flat rate. With that being said, jumping back to Ben Shapiro's reasons for leaving California, touching on the increasing homelessness, the city's turning into tent cities, and all the litter, needles, and unsanitary living conditions, he can't quite understand why all these tax dollars aren't allocated to helping those people in serious need and bringing the cities back to what they once were. In Michigan, however, the bigger complaint has to do with road repair, but construction and repair is happening constantly, which is a great thing despite the inconvenience it may cause you throughout your daily commute. Another point I want to tackle is business. CEO Magazine surveyed 700 CEOs and has ranked California year after year one of the worst places to do business in the United States. Many CEOs say California is very unfavorable to do business and the state taxes are not survivable at all. In Michigan, the state has ranked number 1 for fastest growing foreign direct investment or FDI jobs according to Global Business Alliance. Michigan ranked number 2 for most recovered economy from COVID-19 according to Credible.com. They also ranked number 3 for sustainable development and are among site selections in the top 10 Prosperity Cup for business climate. I will also link a few more of Michigan's many state-acclaimed recognitions in the description below for you. The next point I want to touch on is weather. It's no secret Michigan gets snow and California really doesn't, but I would say there's a massive misconception about Michigan weather. After talking to a few of my California clients, they made it sound like they were gearing up for an apocalypse when it came to Michigan snowfall, and I promise you it's not as bad as you think. Of course, it depends on where you are in the state. As I mentioned in a lot of my other videos, the Upper Peninsula can get anywhere from 80 to 150 inches of snowfall a year, whereas if you're in my area in the southeast side of Michigan, you'll see anywhere from 35 to 45 inches of snowfall a year. BestPlaces.net breaks down the comparison of Detroit, Michigan and San Diego, California's climate situation the best. On average, Detroit has 183 sunny days, whereas San Diego is about 266. Detroit's rainfall is roughly 33 inches a year, whereas San Diego's is about 11 inches. The summer high temp in Detroit averages 83 degrees, whereas San Diego averages 78.5 degrees. The winter low in Detroit comes in at 18.5 degrees, and San Diego's is at 45.6. Of course, I'm aware that the weather statistics in California differ from city to city, especially when comparing NorCal and SoCal. Most of the clients I am working with or have worked with are coming from the Sacramento area. So taking a look at the weather forecast for the week, it shows it will be over 97 degrees on average with 65% humidity. The city averages about 67%. In Metro Detroit's weekly weather forecast, we see a low of 77 degrees and a high of 87, with the humidity being around 95%. This is a terrible example because it just rained a crazy amount the night and morning of this forecast, so that's why the humidity is as high as it is. Michigan typically averages a 72% humidity level, with an average wind speed of 25 miles per hour in Michigan and 24 miles per hour in California. With those temperatures in mind, it gives you some perspective on the next point: outdoor recreation and nature. Every time I've asked a client of mine coming from California why they chose Michigan over any other state, it always came down to the natural beauty of the state. A lot of states nearby have a similar cost of living and great amenities, but Michigan is one of a kind in the natural beauty department. Most people coming this way from Cali, or anywhere really, are looking for a waterfront home or something with a view that offers a little bit of acreage or seclusion, as something like that in California would be a price point not even achievable by the majority of the population, I bet. In California, you're faced with droughts, restricted water usage, forest fires, and extremely hot temperatures. With that in mind, most of my California clients don't even think twice about Michigan weather because they'd rather deal with the inconvenience of snow and colder weather than to have another summer in 100+ degree weather with the heat index. With such a huge range of recreational, cultural, and educational resources and low cost of living, MoneyRates.com named Michigan the 4th best state to live in nationwide. For those of you that have made the move to Michigan from California or simply riding it out in California still, what have your experiences been like? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you have any more questions about making the move to Michigan, don't hesitate to reach out anytime. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If it provided you some value, please give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and tap the little bell so you never miss out on one of my uploads. I'll see you in the next one.